Hello everyone, VanguardOfValor here, and welcome back. We're playing a bit more Into the Breach today with our first playthrough on YouTube. We've finished our first two islands with fairly good success rates so far, but there's still more to do. So, we've just got access now to our third island, Pinnacle Robotics. Pinnacle Robotics fights a war on two fronts, one against the VEC, the other against its own sentient weapons. Its CEO is Zenith, and its environment is very cold. This is probably going to be a bit of a mess, but we're going to try and go through all four islands before going to the finale, so let's see what happens. We've got our starting team here, and they're doing pretty good so far. We've got a primarily robot team now. We have Archimedes piloting our punching mech, and we have Silica driving our cannon mech. We've also got Ralph here, still in the artillery, and generally, things have been going pretty good for us. We'll have to see if we can keep that momentum going into our third area. Let's give it a shot. The humans employed at Pinnacle are just as important as the sentient machines. We must stop the VEC to save all life. Alright then, Zenith. So here we go. We have another island. 7 places we can go. We can only go to 4 of them, so we gotta pick and choose. We're definitely going here, because they're offering us a power core. So we're probably going to wind up going to whatever this... to District Z1101. Whatever this is going to be. Secondary cooling, and whatever this one is. If we can get all 4 of those, that'll give us the maximum amount of rewards, which is what we want. So, let's go give it a try. We're going to District Z1101, which in binary is probably like District 13 or a reference to something like that. I'm not sure exactly what the number would be in binary. But we're going to head over here and see what's what. These factories are manufacturing hostile machines, but there are hundreds of innocent lives within. Please defend them while we try to shut them down safely. Okay, this one's going to be a bit of a pain, because these 2 map locations are going to be spawning robots that are going to try and attack things. So we have to kill the robots, but we can't let any damage come to the buildings. So we'll see how this plays out, but it might be a nasty one, especially because we're starting with 4 enemy spawns. Oof, and the first one of them is a shell scion, which means these guys all have armor that ignores the first damage they take, and we have an alpha hornet. The leaper here isn't so bad, he just jumps to locations and then does a web attack, but it hurts quite a lot. His web attack still hits for 3. So, we're going to have a bit of a pickle here, I suspect, as we try to deal with this mess, but let's get our team in here, and hopefully we'll be able to push through. So, let's keep our cannon mech in the back here, and we'll put our artillery over here as well, and we'll see what happens. This may be challenging, but hopefully we'll play it out and it'll be okay. Thing is, we really need to get rid of this guy. First thing he does is come in here and wrap us up, unsurprisingly. This is kind of exactly what we were hoping for. So they've just spawned an angry robot that's going to be attacking us in a minute. This guy is still standing here, and generally things aren't in great shape. But, on the plus side, we're actually in really good shape here to mess with them, because all of these guys lined up really nicely for our artillery here. So all we really have to do is artillery this central guy after we punch the first one. Because if we punch him, it'll knock him back into the person in the back, dealing 1 damage to both. Then our artillery round kills the guy in the back, and they lose the armor. Now, because our tank has the ability to fire twice if it doesn't move, we can Taurus cannon this alpha, and then Taurus cannon him again to clear him out right away. That ability has already proven its usefulness. Now we have a robot over here. We can go block this spawn if we want, but I probably don't actually want to do that. I think we want to just let them play out the turn now. I could move, but I don't know if I really want to. I kind of... Let's move up to there. I don't know if that's going to be the right move, but we'll do it anyway. The robot is now fully armed and operational. That doesn't look good. And more robots are on the way up. Now hopefully this guy still only has 1 health. He does. He's got a laser on him, which is pretty nasty. But he shouldn't be too hard for us to deal with because he still only has 1 health. So what we're probably going to wind up doing here is punching this one with our punching mech, shooting this one with the tank, and using the artillery to rotate around into a position where we can shoot him. Because that way we can get rid of that mech before it does anything we don't want it to. This being an alpha digger is quite worrying. Diggers have a cool ability, which you should be able to see here, where when it attacks, it puts up a bunch of defensive walls in all the spaces that don't have something it's attacking. For some reason, the animation isn't playing, but it's a little bit problematic either way, because they basically create barriers as they go. Now, I still think this is probably the best play for us. I'm actually going to move him over here, because it'll be less inconvenient for us later. Fire an artillery shell here to take out the robot. Send our tank over this way to take out the bug. And punch this one to death. So this guy is still potentially a problem, but the rest of them should be okay. And I'm actually going to keep him here. There we go. This guy might be an issue, but we'll deal with them as we get there. Artillery mech is live. Digger's coming back to get us, but that's actually pretty convenient. That's kind of what we wanted. That's a little inconvenient, but we should be able to deal with that. So, we got a robot here that needs to go. We got a tank here that can actually take these both out in one shot and take that guy out. So that's a really convenient setup for us. Because since we can shoot twice, we can shoot once into these guys, rotate, and take out this one. Nice and easy. And over here, we may be able to take these guys out all the way as well. Since we can hit them with the Artemis, or the Gemini rockets that we have, we can hit both of them and follow up with a punch from the punching mech. Job done. Now we're in pretty solid shape here, I think. We're probably not going to be able to use his standing still shooting twice ability again, but it has come in really handy this mission. Definitely worth the 2 power we put into it. We got a charger and a leaper here. Okay. That's a little bit annoying, but it shouldn't be too bad, because we can basically disregard them here. They're not going to live long enough to do anything about it. We bring our friendly artillery to take out this guy. Drive our tank over and shoot him. And we punch him into a mountain. Not bad. End turn. Alright. So it turns out that silica is really good. Especially in our tank like this. It might not always be so convenient, but it really worked out for us this time. I've broken through their firewall and safely disengaged the factories from the power grid. They will no longer pose a threat. Well, that's convenient then. Alright. That was pretty cool, though, I gotta say. That was pretty cool. If we can buff the damage up on this again, then that'll be a real powerhouse. I don't know if I want to pump that much power into one unit, though. It'll probably be better for us to power up the dash or affect some other ability here for Archimedes soon. We'll have to wait and see, though. As it stands, we have a couple of extra options where we can go, but in this direction, the only one that interests us is the Ice Forest. Freeze and defend both robots sounds a little bit tricky. Then we have to protect the defense lab. I don't really know what that involves either. We might go try 1 or 2 other ones, then come back to do this one, because this one does sound pretty nasty. I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, let's go try the Ice Forest. We might as well try it now. I don't think 1 more power is going to have any significant difference on our firepower, even if we were to find a pod before then. Let's go. We want that power cell. These machines are not currently themselves. Look past their malfunctioning aggression and see them as living beings. I don't really know what this is going to be about. We've got a couple different tanks on the battlefield here. Let's go and see what happens. Do we get 2 freeze mechs as NPCs? Or just 1 freeze mech? I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna have to find out, I guess. Let's send in our punching tank. We're obviously gonna want to block the way here. I just don't know who I want to put where. That'll have to do for now. We'll find out what these guys are gonna do on their turns, I suppose. We have 5 turns to survive. Let's go. Ah, there is a time pot here. Alright, that's not a great start. Neither is that. Neither is that. And neither is that. Okay. We are off to a painful start here, it seems. Is this guy ours? Yes, the freeze tank is ours, so we can use it to disable one of these robots, which is good, because they're already giving us some serious trouble. Then all we have to do is keep them frozen. Now, we can use our cannon mech here to kill the Alpha Hornet, which we probably will do. And then if I can hit this guy with an artillery shell... No, I'm gonna need to hit... Yeah. Let's see here. No. Because we want to move this guy 1 this way, but we can't do that if there's still a bug here. We could bring the artillery over to here, Artemis both of these guys out, which would clear out all the enemies, but wouldn't let us get rid of this guy. We can't just punch him. What I could do is bring the punching mech into the space he's in, punch this guy out the way. The trick is, we really don't have any way to get into a position to send him in this direction. I can probably back him up 1 tile, though, so that would work instead. We just have to make sure nobody's standing here. Now, Silica doesn't have a way to get out of the way of this. It only does 1 damage, so we can probably tank at least 1 shot of it, but then this guy is also going to give us a hard time if we don't get rid of him. So we really kind of have to think this through. Is it easier for us to move this guy back without killing him, or this one? And I think it is this one that's going to be easier for us to get rid of. The problem is I can't actually use the Gemini rockets here because it'll push this bug back into this building and damage it. So as much as it could be convenient, it doesn't actually help us here. Lots of planning that's giving us a hard time. Now I could jump over these guys and shove him into the wall, moving myself out of the range and moving him into the space I was in. And then I can also shoot again, because we have the cannon mech ability here. That would mean that this guy isn't going to get rid of on his own, though. Alternatively, I can shoot him first, then jump over. That'll mean that this guy gets bashed into the wall for 1, this guy gets moved forwards. Then if we take the punching mech and use him to finish this one off, then nobody will be in this line, and we can use the artillery to push him back 1, so he'll kill the bug, or at least this guy will, one of them will. And this guy can be frozen. I think that's our play here. So we freeze him in a conveniently out-of-the-way position. Then we take 1 cannon shot backwards at this bug, and use our ability to then take another action to jump over here and shunt him out of the way. We move to here, and Archimedes punches him again. Then we can move again, but I'm going to wait a second before I do that. Now with the... Ooh. That's actually less convenient now, because he's going to move over 1. I should have jumped... No, I can't jump here and push later, because the jump is the damage attack. So there isn't really a way to avoid that happening. Shunting him out of the way is fine now, it just doesn't let us kill him. But that's okay. The key here is just making sure that this guy doesn't destroy any terrain, since we can't attack him. So even though this isn't quite as convenient as I would have liked, it makes sure no one dies to the attack, which is kind of important. Now, I would love to be able to pick this up and not have the enemies crush it, because if they do stand on it before the turn's over, then I don't get to pick it up. But for now, we're just going to play like this, I think. Get in the way, and hopefully they won't do anything bad. Just don't damage our time pod, please. Alright, so all their attacks miss. They've got one enemy here. That guy's gonna get frozen, so that's fine. That attack should be pretty easy to stop. There's a lob, and here is a stab. Okay. This is actually perfect, because what we can do here, we're obviously going to immediately freeze this guy, because that is what our job is, freeze and defend both robots. Now, with the punching mech, we can come to here and sock this guy to death, and that'll make sure he doesn't get to do anything. Then we can get out of the way. We can let the tank shoot him twice to make sure he dies, because he doesn't have to move, and we can have the artillery take out the leaper. So I think that is the play here. Pick up the pod, punch the bug, get out of the way. Tank shoots him again, and artillery finishes off the leaper. This double shot ability is incredible. I'm not gonna lie, that's an amazing ability. I hadn't seen that on our first playthrough, and it is nuts. Well, let's end our turn here. We've got them kind of boxed in now, so we should have a pretty easy time clearing the last couple of guys out. But we'll see what happens. Because this guy's just dead. They got a lot of spawns incoming. But, I mean, I can just shoot him twice and he's done. It would make it a little bit trickier to kill him, but I can use the artillery to push myself back out the way. So let's just clear him out. One shot. Two shots. Back up one with the artillery. And push myself out the way. It also blocks the spawn, which is kind of funny. And punch him into the mountain. Archimedes got his promotion, which is awesome, which gives him +3 grid defense, which is kind of disappointing. +3 grid defense is kind of nice, but it would be a lot cooler if I can get some like free power or other mech upgrades to make it easier for us in the actual combat. Either way, that's going to be the end of our turn, I think. This guy can still ice something, but there's nothing that needs to be iced. And, well, let's move over one so they can't get out very easily. Actually, there would have been better, but it doesn't matter. Let's end our turn. That guy doesn't spawn, but breaks the rock instead. Leaper jumps over, which we can easily kill, because he's only got 1 health, and this guy should be punched. Okay. Well, this should be pretty straightforward now. We've kind of got them where we want them. Alternatively, I can punch him in front, then I can shoot twice with our tank mech, but I don't think I really need to do that. I'm going to do it anyway, just for the fun. But it's not going to do anything significant, because this guy is already done. The only important thing we'd have to do is move out the way here, so that if we do shoot this guy with a rocket, our frozen friend doesn't bash into us and hurt himself. Alright, we are in good shape here. That is going to be end of mission 2. Looking good. Okay. We froze and defended both robots, we protected the defense lab, and we protected the time pod. That is some good stuff. We might even get a second power-up here, which would be really good. Let's see here, though. What do we get in the pod? Ah, we got a pilot! Lily Reed. Gain +3 move on the first turn of every mission, and she gives us +1 mech reactor. That's pretty cool, actually. We also get a reactor core here, which lets us upgrade our mechs more. And Archimedes got his 3 grid defense. Now the question is, do we want to use Lily? Because I really like Archimedes on the punching mech for the ability to punch something and then get out of the way. The ability for Silica to shoot twice is insane. So the only one I'd really be considering switching is Ralph. But Ralph doesn't really need 3 move on the first turn of every mission. We might just hold on to Lily for now, because I have a feeling that as good as her ability is, I don't know if I actually want to use it here. It would be really good if we had someone who had a very close range ability, like Archimedes, but needed to be able to maneuver more quickly. Now, what we may wind up doing here is giving both of these power-ups to Archimedes and turning on the dash. We still need to do this to get an achievement, and the ability to dash somewhere and then move again is pretty good, because we can cover a lot of ground that way. We could upgrade things like his movement or his health, or go for the damage upgrade, which is really nice, but we might wait for that. Now, going for the Taurus Cannon upgrade would potentially give Silica 6 damage in a turn, up to 8 if he has something to smash the enemy against, which is nuts. But I don't think I like the idea of putting all of our firepower in one mech. Right now, Ralph is doing fine with this. I don't think he really needs any upgrades right now, except maybe the health to make him less vulnerable. As it stands, I think we're going to give him both to Archimedes and turn on the dash ability. I think that makes the most sense to me for making our full team as useful as possible. Now we're going to head back to secondary cooling, I think. This one sounds nasty. Break 5 buildings out of the ice and block Vex spawning 3 times, as well as protecting the coal plant. Well, we'll see what that's all about. Then we have one more to do after that. Let's give it a try. One of my environmental processes crashed, and the result was an entire city encased in ice. The lives within are still functioning, but they will die if not freed in time. Alright, so we have a lot of buildings in the ice, and we gotta break 5 of them out, which means we can kind of let the Vec attack them, but we'll have to see what happens here. Let's start the mission. Okay, so we know that ice blocks all damage until the first time it is hit, so that's pretty helpful. Now, these guys are generally going to be bad news. We have an Alpha Leaper here, who does an absolutely bonkers amount of damage if he actually hits the person he jumps to, or whatever it is that he jumps to. So we'll see what happens, I guess. Let's, we also have an Alpha Scarab, which hits for 3, I think? Yeah. And an Alpha Digger. This is a nasty set of bugs. Let's start it and see what happens then. We do have a lot of firepower. Alright, well this guy's done. That's convenient. He's not doing anything. He's gonna free a building for us. I'm kind of okay with letting them take their turns right now. We're gonna have our cannon mech devastate this guy, because that is exactly what he's good for. I could just leave him alone now, because that attack will set him on fire. So he'll take damage at the start of the turn and will die. Now, I could do a jump or something like that as well, but the problem is this boulder's in the way. We can push him into the water. That's pretty easy. That's probably the play here for him. And I think we actually want to kill this guy so that our punching mech can get through and kill this one. Or at least hit this one. Since we can't likely deal with these rocks in any other easy ways, just getting rid of him is probably the fastest. It's not necessarily the most efficient play, but it'll do. Now I could come over here and punch him to death and kill this guy, or at least injure this guy. That might be a good play. I think it is, just because he's a leaper who's going to be tying things up. I'd rather him not do anything significant to us. So it means we don't clear out that extra building, but it does mean that we stay on top of the spawns a little bit better. Let's move over to here and see what happens. Now, in these icy terrains, you'll also notice that there's ice on the water. This is the main difference between the other areas, that the water has a surface on top of it, but if you hit it twice, it turns into water, and anything on it falls through into the water. So, that will potentially come in handy, but we will see. Let's end our turn for now. That's one building broken out of the ice. I still have to block 3 Vex spawns, which is going to be tricky, I think. That's going to be another building broken out of the ice, and there's another one, so that's looking pretty good so far. There's a bunch of incoming spawns here that we can try to block. Yes, thank you, Archimedes. We were indeed requested to prevent the Vec from surfacing. So these guys aren't super dangerous, and right now they're just going to be freeing those buildings for us. My suspicion here is that our correct play is going to be shoving this guy on top of one of the spawns. I could pit him, I could push him in the water, but I don't know if it's worth it. Because if we bring the tank over to here, shove him forward once, bring the artillery over to here, shove him forward again, and then we can punch him with our fist mech to get him in the water. It's a super inefficient way of dealing with him when I can just shoot him with this guy twice. Which is what I think we're going to do. We're just going to shoot him. And we're just going to shoot him. Job done. Now we're going to stand on one of these spawns, because we have to block 3 of them. I stand in this one, though. And we also have to free more of these buildings. So as much as I would like to make this as efficient as possible, what we could do here is break this one and this bug with a rocket from the Geminis. I would really prefer not to let them have a lot of turns here. And if we go for the Gemini missile, then I kill one bug and clear out of space. Is it better to let them both clear out of space? I don't think so. It's kind of overkill to use the Gemini rockets like this. But I'm okay with it. And Archimedes could move again, but I actually want him to stay there. That's where we put him normally. He hasn't attacked yet. Oh, what I should have done, actually, was I should have moved him here, punched this building, and then moved. I have to remember I could do that. That would have been a much better turn. I can't undo his move, though, for some reason. I guess because somebody else is attacked, I can't, Oh, I can dash now. True, that's right. I have to remember we've given him that ability. For now, we're going to end the turn. We've blocked an enemy spawn, and we have a fairly nasty guy coming our way here. On the plus side, we only actually have to kill one of them, because they're both blocking a tile we don't have to care about. How do I want to handle this, then? The Alpha Beetles are pretty bad news. We can just punch him once and he'll go into the water, though. We still have to block 3 Vex spawns, which is the main thing that I'm worried about right now, though. Because if we just stand here, then we're not going to be able to properly block them. So I think what we have to do is we have to punch one and then move back onto a spawn with our punching mech, and we also have to stand on a spawn with our tank mech. Now, this is the second last turn, so after this one, nothing else is going to spawn, so we just have to deal with whatever's left. So because we have the ability to reposition with Archimedes, we're going to move here, punch once, move back. We're going to stand here with... Is this correct? Can I just jump anywhere? Yes. Okay, so we're going to shoot this guy. And then, even though we can't move, we can booster to this tile to block that one. The technicalities. That's how we're going to win this war. And we also have to free 2 more buildings, so I'm going to shoot this one. Oh, I can't do that. I forgot that the artillery mech doesn't do damage to buildings, so I can't clear it with the normal artillery strikes. That might be a problem. Well, let's end our turn and deal with whatever else happens. Into the water with him. We have our 4th building cleared. We have blocked 4 Vec actions. And we've got this under control. So all we have to do here... I'm going to move you over to here just for fun. You have 2 health? Yep. Okay, we've got this under control. With our tank, we're going to take the ability to shoot twice to make this easy. Shot once, frozen building is now unfrozen, which gets us number 5. Shot 2, kills him, knocks him in the pond. Then the punching mech takes out our last enemy. Whew, that was a tricky one. We came pretty close there to almost not getting it, but thankfully, due to Silica's amazing ability, we're in good shape here. Let's end our turn. Wow. Well, that was a tricky one. We've broken 5 buildings out of the ice, blocked the Vex spawning 3 times, and protected the coal plant, which puts us back up to full power grid. Awesome. We'll take it. 14 more experience for Silica, too. Getting close to max level, seeing what their final ability is. Alright, we've done 3 of our potential 4 missions on this area, and that is where we're going to end this episode for now. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This has been Vanguard of Valor playing some Into the Breach for you. I'd love to hear what you think about it so far in the comments below. But for now, this is it. Until next time, bye-bye.